Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with another edition of Challenge Accepted, and this week we're taking on the Mercy Tiara 2020 Winter Inspiration Challenge. One of the challenges in there are many, and it's going to be a really great YouTube hop on the same day as our Challenge Accepted goes live. So I'll include in the Challenge Accepted, I'll include links. I'll copy the blurb for Mercy Tiara and include links so that you can get to those as well as to Shannon's page. They've got, what we've chosen to do for this week is the 27 item alphabet challenge. And there are 27 items. I think the requirement is that you use 5 or more. I'm going to try to use all 27 because that's kind of what I do. And in addition to that, I'm going to be doing Calvinball, and there are about 80 layout related rules that are active today. I'm going to do the Wednesday rules because I'm filming this on Wednesday. So I've got a little tray here kind of filled with some of the smaller items. I have a stamp pad and a date stamp and some other stamps ready to go, some sequins, some tiny little fussy cut things, and some other stuff that I'll draw from. So I'm going to do a page about coronavirus because we've had it kind of close to home today. Our contractor who's doing a lot of work on the upper 2 floors had been out for a couple days, and it turned out his son's 2 best friends have tested positive and are not doing well in their secure isolation facility. So we're a little concerned that he's here, and because we have Ava coming home on Friday, and she has a compromised immune system due to chemo. So he's gone, and if I think he's been tested, and he hasn't had close contact with his son, and has never met these 2 friends. So I think I think he's probably safe. He has absolutely no symptoms. So I think we're okay with him working in the house, but probably while Ava's here, we're going to ask him not to come. Okay. On with the layout because I think it's going to take a while. First thing I'm going to do is prop the photo, my large photo here, up on foam, leaving some margin because I do expect to have some of the 100 points or so that I'm gonna do. There is some overlap, so it's not going to be that bad, but there will be probably 50 things I'm going to add to this layout, and that's, it's a lot even for me. So the background paper I'm using is an embossed piece of cardstock that actually looks a little like vellum. It's embossed clouds, and there's some raindrops, and it's kind of metaphorically a cloudy, rainy sort of environment these days. I'm going to push this all the way to the end there. And then I'm going to start piling on. There's plenty of space in the photo to add embellishments and a title. The Inspiration YouTube requires a quote as a part of your title, so I use "Stay Home," which is a quote from all sensible government officials and businesses in this environment. And I'm going to, it also, Calvinball requires a song, and I looked it up, and there's actually a song. It's from the movie Shrek called "Stay Home." So yay, that title actually covers rules in both places. So that's good. I'm going to start with the shorter list and just kind of see what we have going on here. Okay. I'm going to kind of go down the list. Acrylic. I've got this. This is die cut, so it qualifies as that. It's foliage, which is one of the rules from Calvinball. And it's I did some acrylic painting for another project, and I just die cut from it. I can probably do something like that and just put a top dot under this largest leaf. That will hold it onto the page, but it'll let the leaves kind of float around as if they're loose. And I think that kind of looks nice. Okay, I'll do that, and then I can cluster some other things around or underneath it, so it's not going to prevent me from doing that. Okay, next is balloons or butterflies, and I've actually got both. This is a balloon from a Maggie Holmes. This is old, but until the other day I hadn't opened it. It kind of came from there. It's chipboard, and I know how chipboard notoriously doesn't stay stuck when things start bending. So I'm going to do this. And it's one of those things that can kind of overlap the photo. It's one of those things that has to go up at the top. You don't want to cluster it down at the bottom. So this is another one. I did a similar page to this the other day with a big photo of my messy desk, and I had to really kind of think through what things make sense to be clustered at the bottom versus the top. So I'm going to do that. The C item is a crimper. And I honestly have never owned a crimper. They say remember those, and I honestly do not. So I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper. Let's see where I can find some scrap paper. Here is some scrap paper. I'm going to tear a piece, and I'm going to pleat it. Like so. It's striped, and I'm doing it the vertical way, which may hide the colors of some of the stripes. I'm going to kind of call that crimped. I have no idea whether that's what that is or not. I'm going to use my stapler. I'm going to kind of fan it out like this. If it doesn't work, it's not required to meet the challenge, but I can say for my stapler to be running out, I just refilled my my tape. Okay, let me kind of tuck this in. This is something that could, and now my glue won't come out. Okay, so technical difficulties here. I'm going to kind of just randomly pick a slot where that can stick out there at the bottom, because that doesn't have to be. That's one of those items that doesn't really have to be at the top. And then I can kind of layer something else. There's going to be some title stuff going on right in through here. When I have a happy or uplifting kind of image on here, it's may represent some of the things we're missing while we're social distancing, if you will. Okay, so crimper, doodling. I will not do it now, but I will doodle probably with my white pen. In Calvinball, I get a point for using a white pen, so I'll take care of that later. Ephemera. I've got loads of ephemera, and one of the things I do want to do up at the top are these pieces of ephemera. They're from My Mind's Eye collection, and I like the big tropical leaves. And this is I did some watercoloring on photo paper, just as an experiment. And then I stamped this flower on top, and I thought it kind of looked tropical, so I thought I'd use it. I'm going to kind of do this and maybe layer it under that balloon so that and I can maybe have this. Yeah, and then this leaf can kind of overlap that. You know what? I don't have to have both of those. I'm okay with just using this one. I'm going to put this here and a pop dot to kind of prop it up. I'll put it halfway on and halfway off the photo here. Okay, do that. Maybe kind of, okay, that works for me. Then I can layer some other things around it. Let's see, next thing, feathers or flare. Well, I actually have both. Feathers are required in Calvinball, or they're you can get them in, get points for them in Calvinball. I have this feather, which is a piece of ephemera from some collection somewhere, don't know which one. And I like it because it matches the colors in the photo. I've got this pink feather that's die cut, just die cut from somewhere. It kind of brings out that pink, the pink color here, and I like it for that reason. I'm going to kind of temporarily put it there and maybe have this guy down here. Not going to glue them in, but they're kind of on there as proposals. Geometric shapes. Well, I've got a whole passel of hexagons, and hexagons are required, and there are certain paper types required, wood grain and geometric pattern and vellum. So I thought I would arrange these maybe on this part of the photo, kind of guiding your eye down to the photo of Ava. So I'm going to alternate popping them up. This is actually meant to be a dessert, I think. I think it is. And this is one, goes like that. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and I've got this little picture of this little cupcake. That's one I should do flat because it has some parts that I don't necessarily need to show. Okay, sorry for, I'm gonna kind of lay it like that. It's not parallel, and it wouldn't matter if it were the only one. But it'll show, I'm gonna kind of overlap and underlap as I go through. Kind of bring that one up a little bit. There we go. And I like this vellum, but I don't really, let's see, if I use a pop dot, it's going to show. I could layer something on top of it, a tiny embellishment on top of it that would hide it, but I want it to overlap these two, and you can then tell that it's vellum. It reads as vellum, if you will. Okay, here is a this is wood grain on one side and geometric shape on the other. That can kind of go there. Not straight. I should use tweezers because then I can look at it from above. And as you know, things really stick to photo paper. Okay, there. And then I've got, let's see, there's an ice cream cone. Something, these are not important images, so I will just use the striped paper aspect of it. Let me go back to these guys. Kind of doing that. And this one can use a dot. I like using, when I have to use a geometric shape like a hexagon, I like using those as platforms for other things. But sometimes if I only put one, my platform gets covered up and then it's hard to tell that there is a hexagon. And I always get concerned when I claim hexagon and you can't really see it, that somebody will think I'm cheating. Okay, this can go maybe right there, and I'm gonna just kind of make that flat. I want everything to overlap. And then I can, that's kind of an ugly gap right there, but I can immediately cover that up with something. Okay, so that's my geometric shapes. Hidden journaling, I plan to insert something with a tab on it, so I need to remember to leave room for that up here. In fact, what I may do is, since I've almost used all of this, I may just kind of stick that there as a placeholder. Okay, that's probably the most thinking in advance that I've ever done on a layout. Hidden journaling. Ink. I've got some ink to splatter around. I just need to be careful there. I'm going to put some at this corner and this corner. And it is a shimmer spray, so it will dry with a really nice shimmery metallic looking glittery looking finish, and it's green, which is the primary color in the photograph, or the main color in the photograph. If you will, let me wipe this off of my glass mat here. Okay, now what's next? Jack-o'-lantern. Now this is silly. Later on in the list is ovals or orange. Now I figure the speech bubble is oval enough, but I got something orange here too. I've got this jack-o'-lantern. It's kind of a pre-jack-o'-lantern. It's a foam, it's a kid's foam pumpkin, and I suppose I could use a black marker or a black pen and draw a jack-o'-lantern face on it, but I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to just have it kind of barely peeking above the top of this. I really don't want to put it over here because it's a very different orange from the orange that's kind of in that photo. I may try to sneak it under. This is what I mean about kind of planning ahead. I don't plan ahead. I think that's what really kind of holds people back and makes them not like, there are a lot of people who just must do that, but I spent my whole IT career having to research and plan and do, you know, extensive project planning and so forth. And I like just doing art for the sake of its reckless abandon. Okay, so that is my jack-o'-lantern, such as it is. Craft. That's one I didn't go get. I have a, right here, this 3 looks like it's punched out of craft paper, and gosh, this is kind of cute up here too. I'm gonna use that 3. Let's see if I can pull it out. That's gonna be my nod to craft, and I can't believe I didn't go do that. And it means absolutely nothing. It has no significance in the whole coronavirus thing. So I'm just going to kind of hide it there under the flower so that you can actually see that there's something craft. You can't see whether it's a 3 or an 8 or whatever. Okay, so this is moving over my hidden journaling spot is there, and I'm just going to kind of one of the things that I'm going to do that I will not do on camera because I haven't had access to my computer and printer just recently. So I'm going to put one of the points in Calvinballs for memorabilia, and I'm going to print out a notice from Starbucks, one of many where I belong to loyalty programs, and they're sending me information about how they're preparing for the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak. And I thought I'd kind of use that as a piece of memorabilia, and then behind that I'll kind of combine it with some hidden journaling. So that's what's going to be in this spot that I keep moving around. Okay, craft, labels. Next thing we have is labels. Now I have a stamp that is a label in this Vicki Boutin. I think this is All the Good Things. Maybe her first collection that was a full collection. I'm going to put the good stuff, which is kind of not exactly the thing. But first I'm going to do I can't do them at the same time. I thought I could one time, and that didn't work out very well. Okay, so I'm going to kind of put it down in here, maybe over here. And of course, I'm going to be stamping over a textured paper. And you might say I should have stamped this on white cardstock and cut it out, and you're probably right. So I'm going to try it anyway. Okay, oh, that came out great. It's a little, I'm using my, what I call my gray stamp pad, which is really just a black one that I've used a lot, and it isn't completely black anymore. And I like that. I use that. I consider that a feature. Okay, let me put the good stuff. It requires, there's a point for using a typewriter font, and the good stuff is a typewriter font. So that satisfies both. I'll put those on my lamp as a signal that I have to clean them off. Let me put that away. I'm going to use the date stamp in a minute, though. I have another label-like thing. This This is a sheet of labels. I think I've used everything except these 3 that have the gold tabs. And I'm going to, this is not really a good, I'm going to use one of these because we get a point for gold foil. I'm saving all of this because, well, actually, let me just, I'm going to put that back on there. And I think for another project I'll do this. I'll let that be my label. My date stamp I may do directly on the photo and not worry about surrounding it with anything. But off camera, if I think it might look good, I will fussy cut around one of these used labels, one that has the full thing, and then I can glue it on. It'll be just the frame of the label, and I'll put it over my fussy cutting, or maybe I can put it over my title. So I may use that. You may see that on the finished layout, but for right now I'm going to put it aside. Okay, we've done the label. Now we have mist, and I used what is a mist for that ink splatter, and I am going to claim that I've met that requirement. Nouveau drops or enamel dots, and I have both, but I thought I would use some enamel dots right maybe on this little label just to kind of highlight it, and I'm going to go with blue. This might draw your eye to it. As you can see, I'm not necessarily sticking with the colors in the photo. I'm adding, you know, all the other colors, and you'll see that in a minute when we do the leprechaun and rainbow rules. Okay, that's not. You notice that sometimes those guys go right into exactly the right place, and put that off in the used category. Okay, next thing is ovals or orange. I've done orange with this pre-jack-o'-lantern, and there's an oval here. I made the speech bubble, which was originally round. On my word processor, I stretched it out, and so that's oval. So I think I've done that. Punches, I have punched out all of those hexagons, so that's done. Quote as part of your title, the stay home works for that. Ribbon or rhinestones. Now, I'm going to be using twine in my tag that I have for later, so I thought I'd use a rhinestone, and to use the rhinestone I'm going to have to put the camera out there, my camera that's required for that's one of the rules in Calvinball. So it's one of those tiny things, as is this butterfly. There's a puffy sticker requirement in Calvinball, and I have this little butterfly that's puffy, and if I don't use it, if I don't put it on there, it's gonna disappear. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this on, and then I'll put the rhinestone as part of the flash. Usually I use the there we go. Usually I do a jewel in the lens of a camera, if that's kind of the main thing, but I thought it might be cool as part of the flash on this one. So, big question. As old as this gem is, it's one of Ava's when she was like 4 or 5 and was doing a lot of scrapping with me. Her favorite color was purple, as is and was mine. Okay, should have put that on before gluing the camera down anyway, but now it's set. I'm going to move it a little bit over so that you can still see that that's a vellum and a hexagon. So it satisfies those requirements. Okay, now what's next? Quote, ribbon, rhinestone, sequins. I've got some green sequins, and I thought I might kind of put a few of those on these hexagons. Maybe 3. I'll put 1 on each of those 2 sparkly ones, and then maybe 1 right here. Okay, so I've got my dabs of glue down. Let me cover the glue up and go pull out the sequins. I thought I'd use 3 different ones. I like these kind of holographic ones. This is a sequin mix that I did myself of, it kind of contains a lot of green things and a lot of other things that are not green that were basically in the bottom of my sequin drawer when I cleaned it out one day, and I just kind of dumped it in because I thought it would make an interesting mix, and I love it. But I tend to use mixes kind of like I'm doing now just to draw different colors of things. I think I'm going to do 5 because I've kind of done those in a diagonal this way, and I'd really like 1 more over on this side, maybe right up here, bridging that. So I thought I might do, let's see, what do we have? We have a turquoise one that, or teal. Can do that there. And it's kind of, it's transparent. I have the wrong side of the cup. And I've got one stuck to my thumb, so that's interfering with stuff. Okay, and I like this little clear one that was stuck to my thumb. It's a pale green, and it's kind of translucent. I'm gonna go there, and that's 4. I hate to use 4. I'm gonna do 1 right down here. Okay. So that's my sequin requirement, and that's in both Calvinball and Mercy Tiara. Let me close that up and put it in the used pile. Texture or twine. Now here's where, to do the twine, I'm going to have to introduce my tag. I'm intending for this tag to kind of go down here. And I'm kind of wanting a lot of my larger embellishments clustered over here and down here. What'll happen is there are so many, I'm going to have to use the whole expanse, but I'd like some of the shorter ones, if you will, to kind of be here and here. So I'm going to use this tag here. I'm going to put some foam behind it. And then I'm going to cluster very small things on it. So that's the twine. And I punched that tag, so that qualifies as something I punched, and it kind of goes along with something I said last night I was going to do in the Calvinball discussion area. Someone described a tag that you could build with all these things on it that would equal 16 points, and someone said, who's going to build that tag? And Alice Bowl, who's the our fearless leader and the generous and wonderful sponsor of Calvinball and Load, and the leader of Scrap Happy, scraphappy.org, if you're interested in seeing all the fun things that they do. First scrapbook group I ever belonged to. And they're wonderful. Alice is wonderful, and everybody there is wonderful. I'm gonna, as I see this, I'm thinking that there may not be room for this, and I kind of want that to show a lot wherever I do use it. So I think I'm gonna let that be my feather up there. Okay. Anyway, Alice said, well, of course I think Kathy will, because I tend to try to cram everything possible on my layouts. Okay, next thing, an item you've been hoarding. Okay. The big thing that I've been hoarding, and the reason I've been hoarding it is because I kind of thought something like this was going to happen. Years ago, I got this in a clearance bin, I think at Hobby Lobby, maybe Crafts, I don't know where I got it. But it was reduced to, you can see the price on here, 8 cents. So I paid 8 cents for this arrow, and I still hoarded it. So the acrylic piece that it stuck onto, it really was stuck. And I tore the pointer off of it, the head of the arrow off, as I was removing it from there. So what I want to do is have it kind of pointing to the title. So I'm going to do I'm going to glue the arrowhead on. I'm going to kind of spread the glue because I don't want a glop to come out. That's an official scrapbooking term, glop. And let me carefully place it, then the rest I'll have to, if I do this, it points directly at the title, but it means this may be partly off, and that's okay. We're gonna see if that's okay. If some of it's hanging over, I can just layer some things under it and put those things on pop dots so that it kind of supports it. So we'll see how that works. Okay. This is really a delicate operation because I'm working on top of my photo, but you know, is that how it goes? Let me look at that acrylic piece and see if I can tell what the outline was. I've lost the acrylic piece now. I just showed it to you. How can I lose it? It's clear, so I'm going to give myself some leeway there, not beat myself up too much. Here it is. Okay, it looks like it goes directly. Okay. So this goes under that, and I'm going to straighten that out and kind of push that down, and this goes here. That doesn't look good. That's not exactly how I'm thinking that works. There might be more. I'm going to go by the spacing there. Okay, this was a painful operation for me, and I'm sure also for you, but I think it accomplishes what I want. It doesn't look too bad, and I can, right here where it's kind of wonky and the spacing isn't perfect, I can layer some stuff over it. And Lord, have I got stuff to layer. Okay, so that's my hoarded item. And it's the arrow requirement or arrow rule in Calvinball. Okay, violet or vellum. I've already used vellum, And right on top of that vellum, I have a violet piece of bling, so I'm good there. And we have to use purple, so violet, purple, I think it's the same thing. Word stickers or phrases. I've got, there's a unicorn rule in Calvinball, and I figured that this ride a unicorn, stay home doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. Maybe just kind of, I'm going to hold off. It might work on this tag. Let me use some dimensional adhesive, kind of pop it up a bit, and then there will be some hanging over, which allows me to, I'm going to kind of slide it down so it's just above that stitching that's on there. Okay. So that's the word or phrase sticker and unicorn rules in. And I've got a unicorn here that I'm not gonna need to use, but we'll get to there. Okay, word stickers or phrases. X is on the page. Okay. I have I thought I could do RX, or just RX here, and the RX, the prescription being to stay home. So it says X's, but I'm thinking 1X might do. R and little x, I guess I'm going to try to overlay it like you see at pharmacies. Okay, this is okay, not, I can't overlay it too much because then I put that R a little too close to the title. So RX, stay home. That's good. I thought I would also do somewhere up in here, hashtag Corona. And I've got there's a bonus to use an ampersand, a hashtag, a question mark, or an exclamation point. Now I've used an exclamation point, so I really don't necessarily need to do that, but it's kind of, well, let's hold off. I'll put the other things that I do need, and we'll see if I want to do that. I've got the right alphas there, so I'll kind of put that off in the maybe I do want to use it pile. Okay. Next item is yesterday. Scrap a very recent story or photo. Well, certainly coronavirus is, and this is a very recent photo of Ava. Zoomed in photo with close up, which is what this is. And so I've satisfied all of Mercy Tiara. Now, I'm going to not go the rest of the way. I'm not going to go in order of the rules occurrence. I'm just going to use the stuff in the tray, knowing that I kind of know what the rules are, at least the ones that have been around for a while. I may check the list. And before I put it in the Calvinball album and total my points, I do check the rules, but I'm not going to make you do that. One of the things that's required is a star and gold foil. So I have a gold foil star, and I thought I might layer it onto one of these hexagons. Okay, I'm not, it's not sticking. So a little tiny dab of glue will help. That's a sticker from Vicky Booten. I can't remember. I don't think it's Wildfire's Honey. I think it's the collection before that, which is Color Kaleidoscope. Okay, my star is there, and I have my gold foil. Next thing that is required is a frame. This frame is also from a Vicky Booten ephemera collection, and it says Daily Notes and Observations, and that's kind of what we're all dealing with in the coronavirus thing. So I thought it could kind of go in right there, and then I could have some things layered on. Let me push this up where you can see it. Thought it might go down here at the bottom, since the words are at the bottom, and I kind of think those are appropriate. And I can layer some things here, like, for example, my panda bear, and then we can still let the words show, and it shows that it is a frame. I don't want to hide the fact that that's there. And it's black, and I wish it were a different color, or that the arrow were a different color, because I've got some black kind of concentrated there. But if I use different colors in the things that I layer on, let's see. I've got they've just added a rule for having an envelope on your layout, and I actually found some little vellum actual envelopes, but I thought this one was kind of cute, and here I'm actually adding more black and white to that. Let me put this, I'm actually liking how it looks though. I'm thinking the black may not be a bad idea there. Okay, that layer's there. I've got a flare requirement for Mercy Tiara, and there's a coffee cup and a heart requirement from Calvinball. When I say requirement, I mean rule, and you can use it or not use it, but for me, the way I do Calvinball, it's a requirement. I might just kind of slide this up here. It's kind of like you're having your cup of, well, actually there's a tea bag hanging out of that, but I'm gonna pretend that it's coffee. Okay, there's a lace rule, and I thought I might use it over here where there isn't anything at the moment, and it's low profile. I can have it just barely peeking out, and then if I want to, I can layer some things over it. Kind of tuck it back in there. Okay, I'll burnish that. That's there. All right. Now, there is a camping rule, and I kind of like, I've got a little campground scene that I fussy cut from a paper, and where we've said stay home, maybe this is an example of one of those things that would be nice to do, but maybe you can, maybe you can't. Maybe it's advisable, maybe it's not. Maybe it's okay now, but might become inadvisable. So you could camp and ride a unicorn. There's a rule for a medical symbol, and my RX satisfies that. But there's a watercolor rule, and I've actually, well, there's a watercolor there. I've got this really cute, I'm dying to use it layout, and this would be the perfect one to use it on. So I could put this on this balloon. Why don't I do that? I used my word processing system. There's a shape in there that you can drag onto your word processing page, and you can then fill it with anything, any image or photo you want. And I had a scan of a rainbow watercolor piece that I did, and so I dragged it in to that. I'll put it on my balloon. This is kind of doing some doubling, tripling sort of thing. There, go there, and then I can maybe do something else there. I've got this little piece of tissue paper with music notes on it. I'm going to layer that down underneath the panda bear in the daily notes and observations, and these are music notes, so there's our daily notes, right? Let's see, let's do that like this. Kind of slide it under the photo. Okay, and then I can layer something around or on top of that. You know what that's doing is that's crimping. Right here next to my crimped paper, which I hope is actually crimped. And I've got this, there's a requirement for or a rule for a car, and there's, this is, and there's a rule for acrylic. This is an acrylic car. It's not sticking. The sticky part isn't working. Let me do this. I'll get it to stick. And it's old. It's also, I'm trying to use, there, is that right? Trying to use, do I have the glue on the wrong side? I do. Yes, no, I don't. That's good, because it goes like this. Oh my gosh, this is not what you want to be doing on camera. This is from a set of kid-themed stickers that I bought years ago and then never used because it's kind of plain looking. You know what? I'm just going to use it without that acrylic top. I'm going to put it on there without the acrylic top first, and then I'll put glue on the acrylic top. I'm going to kind of hide it here as a, not liking that at all. Where can I put it? I'm going to cut it in half and have it peeking out like that. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to put some glue on this. Actually, I'm going to use glossy accents and put this acrylic piece on top so that I can get the point for that rule. And let me get this back in here and put that down. There we go. Acrylic done. Okay, that was more complicated than it needed to be, especially on camera. Let me do this. Try to keep that flowing. Okay, there is a dog rule and there's a cat rule. Now I've got this really cute little catacorn that that will work for the cat, and I'm going to layer the wood. Let me put it here maybe. Now I should ask somebody at Calvinball if you've got a rule for a unicorn, a rule for a cat. If you have a catacorn, does that satisfy both rules? And people would think that's silly coming from someone who was so opposed to point stacking back when Alice took it over from Get It Scrapped. Okay, so I've got a dog paw that satisfies the dog requirement. Something else I want to layer into, well, there's a bird, and the bird could maybe go here over the lace. Ooh, there's a doily, and I haven't put the doily anywhere. It would have been nice kind of underneath this or this stack. So there's another reason for maybe planning ahead, especially on larger items like that. So there's a bird kind of looking over at the cat and the dog. Let's see. I think we are going to have to do some stuff. There's a stenciling rule. I really don't intend to stencil anything on there, but I did some stenciling on the artwork that I drew in here for the camel. There is no more camel rule, but I thought I'd kind of tuck it back here where I'll cut it so it can go back there easily. I thought I'd kind of put it back here so it shows the stenciling part. And I'll let, that's too much tucking, although, that's okay. I can let the head, it makes it harder to photograph nicely, but I think that's gonna work for that. There's a washi tape requirement, and there's also a shamrock requirement. So I thought I would just tear some washi tape and leave this as a kind of as a platform for putting other embellishments, and it's kind of a good luck sort of a thing. It might work for the leprechaun. There's a leprechaun rule, so I think I'll put the leprechaun there on a pop dot. It's also a speech bubble, but that doesn't, I've already used a speech bubble here, so I didn't really need to do that. And it's also oval, so, but I've already, so it doesn't bother me to have a couple things. I'll do this. I just need to let you see that it is washi tape. I've got this little, there's a requirement or a rule for books, or a book. And I've got this, this is a little date book, and from a girl collection, the collection that the fairy and the unicorn stuff came from. And it works as a book, it is a book. And what's cool is it says keep out, which kind of goes with the whole stay home thing. And there's a word strip that says lucky us, and I'm trying to figure out just the right area to put it. Haven't figured that out yet. I've got this fairy, and I'm going to cut the bottom off of her and layer her behind the bird. Like that, and underneath the lace. Okay, so she's there. I think I'm going to put a pop dot behind her head so she gets a little dimension and attention. Okay. There. the easiest one of those guys has come off. I've still got my little placeholder here for my, let's see. Here is a piece that I like, that I can, Strong and Brave are a couple things that, ways that Ava has been described. I just want to figure out where I can put it. It qualifies as a banner. And I had some other banners, but there were too many of them, and I think I don't have room for those. So I had this one kind of as an alternate, and I'm going to go ahead and use it. It's flag or banner or whatever you, anything with that fishtail end, I'm calling a banner. Okay, I've got a dinosaur rule, and I've got this dinosaur that is filled with some of my artwork. It means I wouldn't have to use the camel. I could have the dinosaur looking over at the camel. Don't have room there. Where do I have room? It's facing this way, so I kind of need, let's see if I can sneak it in right there. Ooh, that works. Okay, cool. I get such a thrill out of simple pleasures. Okay, I'm gonna layer it up on top of the thing there. Okay, there we go. I like that. Okay, pineapple. I need a pineapple. This is a magnetic thing that I could kind of use as is. It's meant as a bookmark, but it works for this too. And it's gold foil, so I wouldn't have had to have a gold foil star, but I like the little gold foil star in case I didn't have anything else gold foil. There is a photo corners rule, so I'm going to put photo corners on here. They're also rainbow, and they're sticky at the bottom and not on the inside, so I'm going to do some work off camera to support them and to stick them to the photo. But I'll kind of slide those on. The dessert requirement, the dessert rule would be satisfied by this little Bella Boulevard clip. And I'm going to clip it onto here. I'm going to work it somehow in with the hidden journaling and the memorabilia. Okay, I'm going to go here with this luckiest. There's a ticket requirement. I've got this ticket for, it's a ticket for sightseeing. I can maybe slide it under here. That'll work. It does. You don't have to see it to know that it's a ticket. You don't have to not see it. You don't have to be able to read what's on it. I'll burnish it. This is we had a nautical requirement, a nautical rule. This is a compass rose. This side is glittered, so that's kind of cute. I'm going to maybe kind of slide it down. That's good. I'll slide it down and hide it. Mostly hide it and layer it kind of over the dog paw. That works. These banners I don't need. This is the Lucky Us. I think we're getting down to the bottom other than this doily. So I'm going to try to sneak it in under there. Let's see how far I get with that. Cut it, maybe cut it this way so it fits under there. Let's go. Okay, that works fine. I will worry about adhering that. And we'll do it off camera. White and doodling, white pen and doodling. I'm going to doodle around the edges of the photo. Kind of, there's a black line there. I'm going to do a white one that's hand drawn. Going to come down to the photo corners. And my journaling will talk about how hard it is on teenagers who had spring break plans and a senior who's in her last few months of being able to hang with her friends before she has to face the real world and college and work and things like that. And sporting events that were canceled for my grandson. And just generally worries, we were celebrating that Ava's in remission, and so now we have to worry that she's not exposed to this nasty stuff. So did I do the date? I haven't done the date stamp yet. Let me do that. I'm going to do it. I think I'll do it on this journaling thing. So you won't see it now, but you will on the finished page. So here's my page. I have kind of a big cluster here, a big cluster down here. I could actually add a few things here, but why would I? I don't need them per se. Just tacking on figuring out with points, there's a point for the punch, a point for the yellow polka dot paper, a point for the yellow, a point for the stitching, a point for the twine, a point for the unicorn, a point for the fact that it's a phrase sticker, a point for camping, and a point for the book, and I think that's about it. So that tag itself is a lot of Calvinball points, as Dawn Oregood pointed out in her post last night. So, I've got my lucky. I have to use the word lucky. There's that's this Lucky Us. I'm going to, maybe I'll use that on that hidden journaling and memorabilia piece. Oh, there's also a frog rule. And I found this little frog in a boy's rule thing. Let me add that to the tag. I knew I had something else small that might go there. And the frog is green, so technically if I didn't have any other green, that would be worth a point. I think that's it. I don't think there are any other. I will check the rules, as I said, before I post it and total up my tally. But I'm going with whatever points are on here now, except for like these things, which I will add, the memorabilia and the hidden journaling and the dessert and the word lucky. So that's how you do 100 rules or so on a single page. And with one of the rules being a large photo that's larger than 4x6, which that is. Here's my, I'm going to go ahead and glue this in. And the other being a small photo. So it's kind of, this is extreme. I do extreme Calvinball. You could call it that. And this week I'm doing Extreme Challenge Accepted. So hope you enjoyed. My next week's video shouldn't be quite this long, but you know me. So I'll work on this. I'm going to end this video and then I'll work on that. Bye. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.